The Scottsboro Boys, in the eyes of some, triggered a movement in the 1930s. The actions of some desperately trying to save the young boys' lives, perhaps an example of wokeism then, depending on who you ask. Author and director of Renewing American Democracy joins us now from New York tonight after spending a great deal of time researching this topic.
Well, I wrote about the Scottsboro Boys most recently because I did a history of the ACLU. And the American Civil Liberties Union was very much involved in investigating the case and also in coordinating the legal response, to the case.
Ellis Coase describes the Scottsboro Boys case as one of the first cases that the ACLU fought that mainly dealt with the deadly issue of race in the South.
And the potential of Black folks being, in effect, legally lynched. So it became a huge case for the ACLU and a huge case for the nation that got lots and lots of publicity. And it was sort of very much on anyone's mind who cared about social justice back in the early 1930s, 1931 specifically.
The most shocking thing, he says, he found while doing research for this article on the Scottsboro Boys is how quickly the case wrapped up.
The youngest was 14. They arrested these kids and had them indicted in 5 days. And the trial began a week after that or shortly after that.
Normally, it takes anywhere from a few months to years to indict a suspect and take a case to trial.
It was just a totally super compressed time frame in which they did this. A time frame that didn't allow for the defendants to really pull together a sufficient defense, that didn't allow for any investigation. It was basically just an attempt to lynch these young guys with no attempt to pursue real justice.
Scottsboro, they tell you what it's all about. Huddy Leadbelly Ledbetter song, The Scottsboro Boys, that we delved into on Wednesday, was intended to warn people of color to stay away from Alabama or stay woke while here.
Basically, was saying, hey, look, this is a dangerous area. I mean, they took these 9 boys, who were guilty of nothing. They were accused of rape, and they tried to string them up, and that happened to you.
The warning was crucial from Coase's perspective.
If you're Black, and you happen to be wandering through this territory with your eyes closed, you need to be alert to everything that's going on around you. You need to be alert to where you are, and you need to be woke as opposed to sleeping and dead.
The case at the time bringing together a large part of what Coase describes as the liberal legal establishment, including the American Civil Liberties Union, the NAACP, and the International Labor Defense. The joint effort, by Coase's account, birthed a social movement.
Though it took several decades for that to happen. So it shows, I think, among other things, that you never give up on the fight for justice.
Sadly, he says, also shows what America is capable of.
And it gets seized by hysteria and illogic, which is what happened in that case, and which we still see happening in other situations. So it's a reminder of where we can go when we are led by our emotions and our bigotry as opposed to our common sense and our intellect.
Friday on WAAY 31 News at 10, the leader of the Alabama Bureau of Pardons and Paroles shares his personal perspective on the woke culture war and the part the state of Alabama played decades later in exonerating the Scottsboro Boys.